Hello, listeners, followers, and subscribers. You are listening to the Band1 reRUN podcast, in which I interview and talk story with directors as we run it back to the 2019 marching band season and discuss the process of how their 2019 marching band shows came about. But before you continue listening, be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and follow me on Instagram at _band1_ for more content. Welcome back, listeners, and on today's episode, in place of Mr. Kaneshiro, the Kalani High School Falcon Marching Band Director, I got a chance to interview Kalani drum major, Jonah S. Just want to thank you, Jonah, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
How's school going?
It's been rough with online school, but I'm glad it's the weekend. I'll say that.
I guess coming back from fall break, I felt like it was a short break. Jonah, what is your primary instrument that you play?
I play the trombone.
hmm How do you like playing the trombone?
I enjoy it. It's fun. I really I have good classmates, and I really like all the trombone players and like the
Yeah.
community on the island.
Yeah,
We stay connected.
especially in a time we're hoping to be in a season. It's kind of nice to hear that you're being connected with other trombone players. What was the process of you moving from a trombone player to auditioning to drum major?
Well, personally, like I've always wanted to be the drum major. I've kind of had that dream since, well, my cousin was actually a drum major for 2016 at
Wow.
Castle High School,
Uh-huh.
and I've kind of looked up to her, if I'm being honest. And she kind of was in band, and I've always wanted to join band since elementary school. And band has really influenced my choice of schools
Yeah.
where I wanted to go. And going to Kalani was a informed choice, and I always kind of wanted to be the drum major ever since freshman year. So yeah,
So you're a senior now.
yes I am.
What was last year like when you were able to get that position as drum major and the transition from playing on the field to being on the podium?
It was rough in the beginning. Since I had a senior drum major with me, it was really nice. We could depend on each other and kind of keep each other in check and make sure we're doing okay.
Mhm.
The thing like with last year was that we had a small senior class and like a relatively larger junior class. So the
Right.
junior class really had to step up and support our seniors and just make sure that the underclassmen were okay and even like lead in some instances. We didn't have like high brass seniors last year.
Ah,
So it was the juniors who had to kind of lead those sections. There was a lot of, for me personally, finding how to lead. I was still figuring out during the season, but I just had to do my job. So even if I didn't know what I was doing sometimes, I
yeah.
just had to keep going.
What was rehearsals like for drum majors, you stepping into the position your first year?
At Kalani, we're very lucky to have just two people really who are alumni, and they were also drum majors at UH, and they come and help the drum majors specifically
Mhm.
learn how to conduct and everything. So for me, learning how to conduct was also a little bit easier, I would say, than doing it by myself because I had that other senior drum major, and it
Right.
was also her first year. So like learning the techniques, I don't know. I feel like I had really good teachers.
Yeah.
So it was pretty easy. They knew how to like they used so many different examples to make sure I got it, and
Mhm.
I had good teachers, so it wasn't that bad.
Just seeing you guys last year for the first time in this new uniform change, what was the process or thoughts that were going through your head when you guys were introduced to new jackets?
It was a mixed emotions. I think a lot of us were sad who were returnees because we kind of became attached to the old uniform,
Yeah,
and we kind of know like there's a lot of good shows performed in those uniforms. And when I first saw the uniforms, I thought they looked like biker jackets. Like they were really sleek looking, and it was very clean looking as
yeah,
opposed to the little Kalani logo on the red jacket, our old
right.
jacket. Yeah, but it was sad but exciting, and I think we were all excited to kind of start this new era, I guess you could
Mhm.
say, in at Kalani where we use this new uniform.
Wearing white makes such a more prominent stance on the field.
It
And
definitely sticks out. Yeah.
it gets, I guess, yes, it does get dirty real easily. So,
Many, yes, we get warned many times not to do anything
right.
in uniforms.
So last year's show was called The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
What was the process on selecting that theme?
Well, okay. Mr. Kaneshiro told me that the show options were the music of Styx or the an Presley show or the Sound of Music. And the kind of process that he goes through when selecting the shows is always based on the instrumentation of the band
Yeah.
and where we have strong players or just who makes up the band really. And then the final decision, he told me he chose Sound of Music because it was just more exciting than the other two options. um, but the thing is, the students are kind of kept out of the loop when it comes to show selections.
Oh yeah.
He really likes to surprise us.
Yeah.
So we'll just find out one day. And Sound of Music, none of us were expecting.
Mhm.
So we were all really kind of taken aback. But once we heard about it and thought about it, we were down. We were
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
I
Okay.
obviously know what it is. It's such an
Yeah.
iconic movie.
It
A
is.
lot of songs that I resonate with, like Do Re Mi, My Favorite Things, just to name a few. If you want to talk about what The Sound of Music is.
So The Sound of Music a is an iconic movie starring Julie Andrews, and it's basically about a nun who has to become a sort of like the mistress or like the babysitter.
Mhm.
Babysitter is not the right word, but she looks after um, I want to say 7 kids, just a lot of kids, and it takes place in pre-World War II Austria, and it kind of uses that setting, that timeline of the pre-invasion of the Nazis, and kind of tells the story of this giant family and this nun who has to become kind of like a surrogate mother to these children
Yeah.
and their journey in that time.
After hearing the theme, did majority of the band have to go and watch the movie, or were people already familiar with the movie?
The thing is, like, we actually planned a watch party for
Oh.
the movie, after our first band camp.
Mhm.
So that was kind of like a reward, I guess. We surprised everyone, but on the last day of our summer band camp, we ended the day half day. We made it a half day, and
Yeah.
we watched the movie for the rest of the day.
It's always nice
Yeah,
to see and hear the source material.
it's kind of disappointing that some of them didn't know, but okay.
For the winds in Kalani, you guys have such a very powerful and full sound.
Thank you.
What were rehearsals like while, incorporating a lot of body choreography?
At Kalani, we've started introducing the body movements more so heavily my freshman year in the 2017 season.
Uh-huh.
Um, like we started to like order professionally made like visuals and things like that.
Mhm.
So at least from my experience, a lot of us were already familiar with how the visuals worked and how to implement it with the music.
Yeah.
we always try to prioritize the music first and make sure that it sounds good without the movement, and
Mhm.
then add the movement in. Um, yeah, but the music usually comes first at
A-
Kalani.
Absolutely, yeah. The sound that you guys produce is definitely shows. What was your favorite part of the last year's show?
I really enjoyed the transition from Edelweiss into Do Re Mi. So there's this cool little woodwind run, and then the tempo picks up straight from like this slow 3/4 into the Do Re Mi, and then you can hear the percussion in the front, the the pits, right?
Right.
They're doing these like half notes from the Do Re Mi, and it's a lot of fun. Really fun to conduct it.
It takes a lot to be dedicated to marching band. What was your rehearsal schedule like?
So the bulk of our show is learned during our two band camps, which are both a week long each. So the summer band camp is where we learn as much as we can of the show.
Mhm.
So we actually knocked out our opener, which was kind of almost like half of the sets of the show in that 1 week,
Yeah.
which was kind of, I think that was remarkable from last season. And then our second band camp is in fall break. Uh,
Mhm.
and that's really where we learn most of the marching and stuff like that, like
Right.
the new forms and everything. And then in between that, we have Sunday rehearsals for 3 hours every week, and but we start at 3 o'clock to kind of accommodate for youth symphony people, and just to make sure that everyone can make it to the rehearsal.
Right.
So yeah, um, the Sunday rehearsals for 3 hours, and sometimes we'll have other rehearsals throughout the week, but it's not on the field. So we'll spend Wednesday morning sometimes learning visuals inside the band room and rehearsing visuals. And also like the students, right? The student leadership,
Mhm.
uh, we really have to work with everybody in the band to have sectionals because
Mhm.
we're responsible for scheduling it with everybody, and most of the sectionals are student led.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so it's sometimes it's rough when a lot of people are involved in clubs outside of marching band and they can't make it to sectionals.
Right.
So if we're lucky, we get 3 rehearsals a week. But yeah, our main field time is on Sundays when we can
Wow.
fix everything up.
Every school's schedule it differs, and
Yeah.
to hear that you guys are trying to, put out the best show that you guys could possibly, but in the short amount of time that you guys for rehearsals and the time constraint is pretty amazing because from what we see on the stand, it looks like you guys do have like more rehearsal time, if anything. But to hear this is wow, there's a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, also, if there's any Kalani alumni out there who would like to be techs, please email Mr. K. Yeah, we don't have many techs right now. If anything, we sometimes we have like alumni who visit, but when he says student led, I think it's really student led, and
Yeah.
it does make the show feel like it's ours. And if it's good, it's our fault. He told me this: if it's good, it's our fault, but if it's bad, it's his fault. I was like, oh my god, okay. But it's just it. Kalani marching band is, I don't even know. It stresses me out sometimes.
Yeah, but it's a good stress that I know you guys are missing right now. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, I am.
talking about last year's season is very nostalgic for many. I'm
Yeah.
posting a lot of throwback videos and photos. I'm missing it as well because it keeps me busy. We're hopeful for the future. Was there any favorite fond memories last year that you recall that you miss?
I think putting up the opener and working on the opener of our show where we got to play well, we got to not the pre-opener where we got the big hit of the
Hmm.
the Hills Are Alive, but the opener where we got to play Favorite Things. And it
Hmm.
was kind of jazzy and really upbeat, and then it transitioned into 805. It was just a really exciting opener, and it felt really good to see that on the field and
Yeah, I
hear
was
it.
rewatching your guys' show last year, and your guys' show opens with this huge hit, and it's the sound that I always remember from the stands that always gets me, like kind of get chicken skin, especially because your guys' brass is very powerful, and I myself, I'm a trumpet player, so
Mm.
I reminisce. It's such a fast-driven show, and the closer. What were rehearsals like? Trying to put the closer together.
The closer, I think the closer definitely has some difficult like form. I remember there's this almost peanut shape like set,
Uh-huh.
and we kind of worked on that a little bit. And there's some like during the drum break, the marching band is actually doing some like cool stuff. There's this one moment where the band is in this really tight like square and they have to backwards march.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And there was some scary times where we thought people were gonna fall over, but
yeah.
there was just I think the closer was definitely one of the more difficult in terms of marching, like one of the more difficult marching movements.
Right.
Yeah, and especially hitting that triangle mountain form at the end during Climb Every Mountain, we wanted to make sure that that moment was made clear. If that makes
Right.
sense.
I guess it all came together. With the parents who are familiar with the movie, I could remember like the people actually singing along or like humming while you guys are playing because the songs are so.
I'm glad. That's good. That's good.
um,
Yeah.
what was your final thoughts performing your final show?
I think me personally, I always wanted us to keep improving and pushing. Like even before we went on the field, like as we were warming up in the parking lot, I was still trying to get people to improve
Yeah.
some stuff. But I think performing at the stadium is always fun because the sound really like bounces back and the energy is it just seems a little bit higher. It's like so it's always exciting and it was just fun to kind of close off the season and see that show off and
Yeah.
be done with it. Yeah.
The season that we all wanted this year. How are you taking this lack of season, especially from this? This would be your senior year as drum major.
Mm-hmm.
I know being a senior drum major is not easy.
I really miss, of course, the people and like working with them. I really miss the intensity, like rehearsing
Yeah,
and kind of getting to that point where you're tired but you keep going because that's just your job and you have to and you're enjoying it though because you're working with the people that make music with you and
right.
you're working together to make the show a great show, right? So it's I think that's what I miss, creating things together with my friends and classmates.
Mr. Kaneshiro was talking about the that particularly the marching band is student led, and so that was pretty cool to hear that you guys take ownership of your show, and it definitely shows that you guys are passionate and dedicated to bringing your guys' show to life.
Mhm.
I just want to thank you for joining me and just talking about your show. And I'm glad Mr.
It's
Kaneshiro referred me to you and we were able to do this. Thank you, Jonah, senior drum major of Kalani High School, for joining me. And I hope to get to see Kalani in the future on the field.
Thanks again.